Stiffing that up, bullet pop, little lady. I told you, daddy said.
Next morning, he was waiting outside her house for almost 2 hours. He was looking at his watch. He looked ahead, and she was walking toward him, wearing her glasses. She stopped in front of him and removed her glasses. Without letting him say anything, she opened the front door and sat in the car. Why and Pop? She wanted to piss him off. She intentionally made him wait outside. Jacob off. He came back and sat in the car. He knew she's doing this intentionally. He held his card in front of her. Buy whatever you want, Bella, he said. Wine. I don't need your money, she replied to him fiercely. He put back his card again. They reached the shop. Without letting him say anything, she left the car and went to shop. He looked at her bag. He laughed and get down from the car. Chicky looked at her who went in the try room. He sat outside waiting for her. Wine Pop. She was changing her dress, but the zip at the back of the dress stuck in the middle. Her hands couldn't reach there. She tried again, but her breath hitched when cold hand touched her back. She looked in the mirror where she can see the reflection of Jungkook, who was also looking at her in the mirror. They didn't break their eye contact. Done, he said in her ear. She broke their contact and turned around. She glared at him and went past him. They selected their wedding dress and went home. All right, she was silent. When she reached home, you look beautiful, Bella, he said, looking at her. She ignored him and left the car. He looked at her back, was going inside. He sighed. How am I going to make up to you, Bella? It hurts seeing you quiet around me. One puff. She went inside. She remembered the way he said how I looked beautiful. She tightened her fist and went to her room. She dropped herself on the bed. While she was taking out mobile from her purse, she saw something. Card? She take out the card. It was his. I'll make sure you regret everything, June, she smirked. Jacob off. The next day, Jacob was doing his work when his mobile was constantly ringing. It was messages from bank where they were telling him $10 million are deducted from his account. Hello, Mr. Jungkook. We would like to assure you that you know that the money that are deducted from your account. JK huffed. JK, yeah, that's my fiance. It's okay. He cut the call. He laughed how his soon-to-be wife is doing this to make him annoyed. But what she didn't know was that he was happy because of little attention of her. Spend all you want, Bella. It's all yours, he murmured and went to get ready for wedding. The wedding day. Wine Pop, I'm all ready for the wedding. Jimin would be here in any minute to take me there with him. She looked herself in the mirror. She always thought she would marry Jungkook, but this will come true in this way. She didn't think about this. She smiled at the past memories where they spent all time with each other, where he was always beside her, but now everything changed. Wine, you kill us, June. There is no more you and me. It's only about 2 months, she said with rage. Shake it off. I was waiting for Wine, soon to be my wife. I know she's angry with me, but now there will be no more distance between us. When all eyes went on the prime was walking with her brother. Jungkook looked in her direction. He looked how that little girl turned into this young, beautiful lady. She was his Bella. He smiled at her. Wyan stand beside Jungkook. She looked at Jungkook, who was already looking at her. "JK, you look breathtaking, Bella," he whispered in his husky voice in her ears. "Wyan, beware, it can suffocate you," she replied with her fierce look. JK smirked at her. They took vows and then they went home. Jimin had a flight, so he had to leave quickly. Wine didn't want to leave Jimin. She cried and cried, hugging him. Jimin said to Jungkook, "Jimin, take care of my little one." Jungkook Bob, "I took her my home with me. When we reached home, she was sleeping peacefully. She cried too much, and because of the wedding, she's exhausted." He looked at her sleeping figure. He removed the strands of her hair from her face. "I am sorry, Bella. I left you at that time. But I too didn't have any option. I know I was the reason for your pain, but I too was in the same pain. I wanted to make it right, but I couldn't forget your crying when I left you. I couldn't forgive myself for the pain I gave you." He was saying all the feelings he kept in his heart to her sleeping figure because he didn't have courage to say this on her face. She slightly moved in her sleep. He moved back and get off from the car. He went toward her side and opened the door. He unlocked her belt and carried it in his arms. "You're still so soft, cotton ball," he murmured and took her in the room. When he was putting her in the bed, her eyes moved and she slightly opened her eyes. She looked at him, who was so close to her. She started and moved back. "Wine, why are you so close to me?" "JK, you're awake? Go get fresh." He gestures the bathroom. "Wine, you carried me to the room?" "JK, yeah," he said, unbothered. Wine looked at him. She wanted to throw some tantrums on him, but before she said anything, he said, "JK, stop your little brain. Go get freshened and come downstairs. I'll heat food for you." He ruffled her ears and went away from there without letting her say anything. Wyan looked at his bag, who was going out from the room. She doesn't know why he's doing this now. Again, taking care of her. She went to get freshened. After some time, she came outside and laid on the bed. She was hungry, but she didn't want to face him again. She knew he would be waiting for her downstairs. She ignored the fact and closed her eyes. When she heard the door unlocked sound, she looked at the direction, and it was there. He's standing there with food tray in his hand. "JK, I know you wouldn't come, so I take dinner here." "Wine, I don't want to eat," she said and turned her head. "JK, starving won't help you, Bella. Get up," he said in his stern voice. He sat beside her and he made her sit. She was just looking at him silently. He offered her a bite. "Wine, why are you doing this, June?" she asked, looking directly in his eyes. "JK, what?" he said, unbothered. "Wine, this, everything. Why are you faking your care? I will not fall into your trap this time," she said loudly. He just looked at her, who was calling his care fake. Only he knew how much care he does for her. Wine moves ahead and holds his collar and yells at him. "Wine, why are you silent, huh? Tell me now. You think you can burk me again?" You can make me fall in love with you again, then leave me again? You love watching me in pain. I just hate. Her eyes was full of tears. Before she could complete her sentence, he held her neck and pulled closer to his face. He held her up and pulled her and made her sit on his lap. After a whole 2 minutes, he stopped. He looked at her, who was breathing heavily. He attached his forehead with her. JK, wine, I love you. I can't see you distance from me anymore. It breaks my heart seeing you like this. I know I was the reason behind everything. I was a coward. I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you at that time. But what could I have done at that time? There wasn't any option except that. I was afraid I would hurt you or hurt your feelings. If I accepted you at that time, I couldn't hold myself back from you. You were and always will be so close to my heart, Bella. It hurts. It hurts, Bella, seeing you hate me. He holds your hand and put on his heart. It hurts, Bella, seeing you hate me like this. I can't take your heart, Bella. She looked at him, whose tears were visible in his eyes, and then one tear left his eye. Okay, don't do this to me, Bella. When he said this to her heart ached, and without missing any second, she kissed his tears. Wine. I'm sorry, she said softly. I shouldn't have forced you at that time, but I couldn't control myself at that time and started hating you more and more to not hurt myself again. I thought you don't love me. JK, there's no going back, Bella. Think it again. If I hate you, then you'll be mine forever, he asked, looking at her. Wine. What about Jimin? She said, whispering. JK, what? He knew I love you. He smiled between his tears. Wine bit her lips and then bent over him to kiss him again. This time softly, for him, for her, for every moment she missed him. Thank you so much for loving this series, and I am so overwhelmed for the love I'm getting from you guys. If you like this video, do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to upload many series like that. Stay tuned. Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Alright, stiffen that up, bullet pop, little lady. I told you that